Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome to an army analysis of Tyranid. Now I'm here with Arek, Grand Master of Tactics. Thank you for joining me on this.
No problem.
We're planning on doing a series of this, so we're going to start in the HQ today?
We'll start HQ.
HQ today, and we'll do different sections as we go through the series, and we'll do different armies as well. I'm not sure what we've got planned, but we'll see what comes up.
See where we go.
Okay, I'm going to dive straight in, and we'll see what we can talk about and get this army really well into. I haven't opened my codex yet. This is quite new at this point that we're recording this video. How long do you reckon it's been out?
Codex has probably been out, what, 4 months now?
Around that? No, less than that. Probably less than 4 months.
Than that.
I would go somewhere around the 2 month mark, maybe.
Came out in January, didn't it?
Did it? Oh, yeah, it
it's
did.
about 5 weeks.
It's been. How did 5 weeks turn into 4 months?
I've slept since then.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, you've got the main.
I have. I've got the HQ.
So what's first on the list?
Hive Tyrant, which is really the staple HQ choice of any Tyranid list, and has been for some time.
Now, at the minute, I'm planning to have one of these in my army.
I think really, unless you're playing very low points and you're trying to be conservative, everybody needs one.
Yeah.
At least one. It's a great fighter. You've got your Psyker. Obviously, it's Synapse, which is quite important.
Yeah, very important, especially in these new rules.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's just got a good mix of options. You can really tool it up to do anything that you need it to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got Space Marine ballistic skill, so you can give it a couple of guns and just go to town on that. If you want to make a decent combat monster, you can do. It's lost its 2+ save, which is a bit of a nightmare. But
well, that is the problem with some of these things. That some of the things in this new codex just seem to have a bit of a tweak down.
Yes. Yeah.
But there's also some new cool stuff as well. So we'll let you off. It was one of the most modest updates to an army I think I've ever seen in a very long time.
It is. I mean, I've said before, I think Games Workshop are dangerously close to making a balanced release with this one.
Okay, so with mine I've chosen wings. Now I chose that so I could get some real manoeuvrability, because in my army I haven't really picked any fast attack, and I thought with the Hive Tyrant I can then maybe do some vector striking and things like that.
Yeah, I think wings is a personal choice, to be honest, on them. It can go either way. If you give it wings, you're going to throw it forwards, and again it'll depend on the army that you're fighting. Against the combat army, you'll throw your Flying Tyrant forward and they'll thank you for it. But against some armies like Guard, you can be a real headache. So it really is a personal choice, that one.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic model, and I think it looks great.
It does look great. It is a fantastic one to use. The biggest issue I have with it in this particular codex is these 3 upgrades you get, though. They're not as good as they used to be. They've been quite considerably nerfed.
True.
I mean, Old Adversary is probably the better one there, rerolling your ones to hit and wound.
I like the Hive Commander.
It's a useful one, but it's not game-breakingly. It's not going to change a lot.
I think it depends how you're going to play your Tyranids, whether you're going to be ones that just line up on the front and go for it, or whether you're going to be a bit more tactical, maybe bring in a lot of reserves and things like that.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, the troops that you take as well is going to limit that one's usefulness.
Okay, well, we've talked about the Hive Tyrant for a bit. The next one on the list here is the Swarm Lord.
Yes.
Which is effectively a Hive Tyrant in itself.
It is a Hive Tyrant. It's a very expensive Hive Tyrant.
Yes, it is a very expensive Hive Tyrant. I think it's just below double.
Yeah, it's not quite. It's
not far. Somewhere between half again and double.
Yeah.
In points value. Again, a monstrous creature, but it has got some extra things in its stat line. It's got 1 more weapon skill than the Hive Tyrant.
And that's quite a big thing, because your average weapon skill being that of a Space Marine, obviously, is then 5s to hit you. And that's quite a big change.
It is, and you don't get that very much in the 6th edition rules.
No, you really don't.
And of course, the initiative, 1 more initiative,
Also
1 more
useful,
wound, and apart from that, pretty much the same.
It is. It's very standard. I mean, Psycho Mastery level 3 before was great with all the psychic powers it could get. In this one, the psychic powers are a bit more supporty.
Yeah.
So it's not quite as useful as it was. I do feel like it's not worth the points now, unless you really want to take it.
I think it's gone up 5 points from the last codex.
It has, yes. But it's also worth noting that it does get the +1 attack for having 2 pairs of its bone sabers. So although the profile says that number, it gets 1 extra, which a lot of people forget.
Yeah, well, that's across the whole army now in the codex. The way that they've done all the 2-weapon fighting is changed, and that's something that you don't want to forget when you're going this. Do you want to talk about the Tyrant Guard route?
Yeah, we could do. They're in the HQ choice there. Tyrant Guard Broods, in short, awesome. They're just great. They're the best way to protect your HQ choice, your Hive Tyrant. With the Swarm Lord, not so much, because you play him differently. You're going to want different tactics for him, but they're very tough to kill. They've got a high toughness, and they can be pretty good in combat, but you're in danger of overspending on them. The upgrades can get quite pricey.
They can, and I would say, maybe get 1, 2 upgrades. Don't try and get all your upgrades in there. No,
absolutely.
And also with even though they are that good, I haven't got them. The reason for that I'm not having them is that I've got a Winged Hive Tyrant.
Yes.
And of course, that is the one time that you're not going to have them.
Absolutely.
Okay, Old One-Eye.
Old One-Eye. He's a great character. His regeneration is now the same as everybody else's, which is kind of what he had going for him before.
Yeah.
He's not that much better than a Carnifex in the first place, and he does cost a considerable amount more points.
He is quite a lot of points, yeah.
The Berserk Rampage rule is fun, obviously. Alpha Leader is not fantastic. His leadership's not very high.
That's true. It's quite a low leadership for HQ. Especially when you consider it, all the others have the same leadership, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah. It is worth noting though that he does put out more attacks than anything else. He can get out 7 attacks on the charge, depending on obviously if you've got him in Synapse range for the Rage special rule, potentially 8. So that's something worth bearing in mind. He's a pretty good blender character.
Yeah, and he's also unique as well. So of course, you only have
just
one, like the Swarm Lord. And the regeneration, a quick note about that is that they've kind of made it more chance of regenerating.
Yes.
But you only get the 1 wound. You don't do it for
right.
every single one now. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. And in some ways, yeah, it's nice that they've changed it like that. But in other ways, it's not. And I think the main thing that it changes is that if something's really close to death, it has a chance to regenerate back up to half or even more.
Absolutely.
Where now, it's only going to get that little bit all the time.
It is. I think with the new changes, if you're losing 1 or 2 wounds, the new regeneration is going to be a lot better for you.
Yep.
If you get yourself down to about 1 wound, it's not going to save you.
No,
not anymore.
In the old rules, the closer you were to death, the better it was for you in some ways. And it really gave them that chance to hang on in there in a lot of big hard battles, which we've done quite a few.
We've done some big battles, and I've got to be honest, those 6s do work for you in the old rules.
They really
did
past,
work. They were game changing.
We'll have to see how that goes on in these new rules. Okay, Tervigons.
Tervigon, we'll talk about it here in HQ, but I do honestly think unless you've got that kind of defensive army, maybe the gunline army, you want to be taking it as a troop choice. Because you can, for one thing, but also because sitting that creature on an objective and being a scoring unit is going to be very tough to shift, especially if you do give it the regeneration.
For me, I would put it in troops purely to free up more HQ slots.
Yeah, that too. The HQ slots are very good here. I think Crushing Claws is the way to go. You become unwieldy, but your initiative is low enough that you're only striking before really Thunderhammers and Power Fists anyway, so you may as well have the extra strength. I just think it's worth having there. And Psychomastery level 1 is interesting in this one. Obviously it doesn't have the fixed powers like you did before, so you can. It's worth noting that if you roll for Warp Blast, you're going to be disappointed, you're going to be stuck with the Primaris power.
Quite probably, yeah.
And obviously it spawns Termins. Fantastic.
Yeah, obviously, free stuff.
Free stuff's always great. You can give them counter-attack as well, which is, again, fantastic. It's a Synapse creature, so they'll be auto-passing the leadership test to counter-attack, which actually makes Termagants, I believe, slightly better than Hormagants for receiving a charge, because by the time you get your snapshot in. But we'll talk about that in the troop section.
Yeah, lots to talk about in that. And now we move on to the infantry section of the HQ. Up until now, we've all been monstrous creatures. And the Tyranid Prime.
He's an interesting one, actually. He's not changed a lot since the last codex that I'm aware of. He's had a points increase, I believe.
I can check that.
Not a substantial one. I'm going to keep talking here just to like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
He's had a points increase. I believe it was 90 points. He's now gone up. He hasn't really had much change in his stats. The Alpha Warrior rule is great. If you've got that Venom Cannon in your warriors, your Tyranid warriors, fantastic, throw him in. The higher weapon skill, I was wrong there, but we're going to pretend that didn't happen.
No, it was 80 points it was, in the old rules.
Yeah, weapon skill 6, great. It's not really going to save your bacon much. The fact that he can take the bone sword and lash whip is a good character killer.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic character killer. He'll strike before Space Marines, he'll strike before some of the Eldar, quite a lot of orcs, that sort of thing. And he can tear them to pieces quite nicely.
Yeah.
So and he gets a good number of attacks, so your chances of rolling that instant death are good.
Yeah, good number of attacks there, and it's a good one to have.
And no longer vulnerable to instant death from your battle cannons, which is how I used to deal with it.
Oh, right,
honest.
okay.
Quick template if he's in a big squad of warriors. Big template on the top, problem solved. Not anymore.
Yeah.
You need something a bit tougher.
You're going to be maxing out your strength on your weapons there to be able to sort that out on the instant death.
Absolutely.
And I'm just going to have a quick look backwards, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Toughness. Yeah, all the other ones, all the monstrous creatures, you'll be fine against instant death, unless it's a weapon that actually has instant death in its stats.
It's also worth noting, while you're saying that, Tyranids are entirely lacking in the Eternal Warrior special rule. So instant death all round, if you ever want to kill them.
Yeah. Apart from, obviously, the toughness.
Yes, instant death special rule.
Yeah. And then to somebody that we're very familiar with, but hasn't featured in HQ before.
No, the Death Leaper. It's an interesting move over to HQ, actually. I'm not really sure why it's there. Except perhaps to free up elites choices, because this codex does not have enough elites slots. You need more than 3. I'm sorry, you do.
Well, yeah.
He's a fantastic one for me. I mean, I might be a bit of a fanboy, but he is the best unit in this codex, point for point. I really do think that.
He's quite cheap on the points compared to some of the other HQs.
He is.
I think if you're going with a much smaller battles, maybe if you're going on the closer to 1,000 points area, you're not going to be splashing out on 2 monstrous creatures.
No.
If you're going to be splashing out on 1 and you want a second HQ, you're probably going to be going for something along the lines of Death Leaper.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, his special rules, he's got 3 that are very similar. I can't remember which one it is, but one of them, you only get snapshots when you're firing at him. Now, that instantly removes the chance of instant death that you would get, because normally people would deal with him. 1 quick crack missile and he's dead.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't got high enough save to stop it. So it was easy to deal with. Not anymore. The way to deal with him now is mass small arms fire. He has a low toughness, Space Marine toughness, so you can get him with it, but you need a lot of shots.
The other option, and this is a very, very in-depth tactical one. I don't want to get too in-depth on tactics with these episodes, really. But if you're playing Tau against him, of course, marker lights increase your ballistic skill, snapshots mean your ballistic skill 1, but you still get modifiers. That's right.
Yeah. So you can get your ballistic skill back up. So it's certainly worth doing.
So light him up.
He's got stealth, obviously. He's got your chameleonic skin. He doesn't scatter when you deep strike, which is good. But what I would probably do is deep strike him in outside of some terrain, run into terrain, take advantage of stealth, keep yourself alive for that turn, and then start causing some problems. Find yourself a character and kill it.
Yeah, definitely a character. The big drawback for me with Death Leaper now, I can't remember in the old rules. I'm not going to bother looking. Is that he's not synapse.
He's not, which isn't great. But Leadership 10, he's not going anywhere.
That's true.
So you've kind of got to leave him on his own. He's a fire and forget weapon. Just don't forget about him. Send him out, kill some characters, take advantage of Mind Eater if he's your Warlord, because you can rack up victory points very quickly with that one.
When it comes to Warlord, is it the one with the highest leadership that automatically gets it, or do you choose?
No, you choose. I believe you choose on that one, but they do all have identical leadership anyway, with the exception of Old One Eye. So it's not really going to be a contest. I would try and avoid making Death Leaper your Warlord in larger games where it's going to matter.
Yeah.
Because he will die. If you get him in there, he will die.
But he should be able to do some good stuff before he does.
Absolutely. If your opponent's got 2-3 characters, then he'll make his points back, and he will easily make his victory points back, and then you can sacrifice him, and it's not such a problem.
Especially if you manage to get that Slay the Warlord in.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
That is in a few games recently for me. It's been a very crucial point.
It is, yeah. With the new scenarios that have got, they've not changed a huge amount, but that Slay the Warlord really is going to help.
Yeah, because that's one of the ones that you can get, and nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's been an overview of the HQ of the Tyranid army. Any comments? Anything that you agree with, disagree with?
If we've got any rules wrong.
Remember, don't go out blurting points. We're not here to do that and things like that and stats. But if you want to have a conversation about it, feel free. We'll pick up on some of the comments, and we might actually, once we finish the whole codex, we'll come back and maybe we'll answer some of your questions and talk about some of the points you've done.
Absolutely.
And do a special episode then.
Yeah.
But for now, I've been Master Hellish,
I've been Arek.
and take care. Goodbye.